In this episode of the Happy Diabetic Kitchen podcast, my good friend Erin Sal, a registered dietitian, diabetes nutrition, and lifestyle coach, is on the pod today. We're talking everything fiber, snacks, everything you need to know to live your best happy diabetic life. The stove is on. I've got my recipe ready. Let's get cooking. Hello, everyone. I am Chef Robert Lewis, the Happy Diabetic, and welcome to the internet's most delicious cooking podcast. I'm here in the kitchen getting ready to explore a healthy diabetic lifestyle. I want to take the mystery out of healthy cooking and explore some amazing foods and my diabetic journey with all my successes and my challenges. Let me help you live your best happy diabetic lifestyle. So welcome to the kitchen, and if you're new to the show, I am so happy you're here today. Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in today. I have to be honest with you, I am so excited that you're here. We're going to have so much fun on this episode with my good friend Erin. We're going to be talking all things nutrition. We have an amazing recipe of the podcast. It's my Mediterranean quinoa salad bowl. Simple, delicious, clean flavors. I think you're really going to like it. That and so much more. So we're not going to waste any more time. Let's get right to the podcast episode with my friend Erin Sal. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Happy Diabetic Kitchen podcast. I'm so excited. I've got a very special guest today that I think you are going to just fall in love with and enjoy the positivity and the amazing message here today. So I've got Erin in the kitchen today.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great. So, Erin, I have to ask you this before we get started. Are you ready to get happy?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Well, everybody, let me just give you a quick background on Erin. She is a registered dietitian and a diabetes nutrition and lifestyle coach. Erin earned her bachelor's degree from Purdue University in 2018 and then completed her diabetic internship at Central Michigan University back in 2020. So, Erin, why don't you just say hello to all the happy diabetics out there listening? And again, welcome to the podcast. And why don't you just kind of fill in the blanks and tell everybody a little more about you?
Will do. Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here and to chat with you all. So as Robert said, I am a registered dietitian. For the majority of my career, I have worked in the hospital setting, more in like the acute care hospital, working with diabetes patients, as well as on the stroke unit, in like intensive care units. More recently, I've transitioned and work in an inpatient physical rehabilitation hospital. But throughout all this, I've just kind of seen what an impact of like uncared for diabetes can like have on individuals. And so I wanted to create my own private practice. So I own Empower Nutrition LLC, which is my virtual private practice where I work with diabetes patients and really try to take the confusion and frustration out of diabetes. And so, yeah, I've really enjoyed like working with clients and just really trying to take all the confusion out. So when I'm not in the kitchen, when I'm not in the working with clients, I'm in the kitchen cooking up different kinds of recipes. I also am playing with my Goldendoodle and Labradoodle. She's like a mix. She's my little fur baby. Her name is Marlee Mae. And I also like to, in between all the different activities, go to hot yoga. I've really enjoyed starting that up within the last year or so.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited you're here today. And for those listening, hold on to the steering wheel. Have your seatbelt fastened because if you're driving, we've got some amazing information. And of course, all of Erin's information will be in the show notes of the podcast. So, Erin, tell us, how did all this work get started in your diabetes nutrition and lifestyle coach? How did you come about deciding that was going to be your journey?
So when I first was trying to even find a career. My dad was actually helping me, and at that time I was getting into nutrition and fitness myself. He's like, hey, like, what about a dietitian? And I was like, what is that? And so I really enjoyed the aspect of like nutrition as medicine. And a lot of people in my family have diabetes. And so from the start of even before I became a dietitian, I always really enjoyed the diabetes aspect and nutrition, how it can help. And then it just kind of solidified it going throughout my career and seeing how much of an impact diabetes can have on different clients. So that's how it came about to really focusing and only working with like diabetes patients.
Thank you for that. We need a lot of help out here. So, so excited that you're here today. Well, let's just jump in. Let's just get right to it. So let's talk snacks. It's one of the things that I get asked a lot about: healthy, delicious snacks. What are some delish and healthy recommendations for people living with diabetes that won't send our blood glucose levels through the roof? Any suggestions about snacks?
Of course, as a dietitian, we always love our snacks. One thing with like the snacks that I'm going to recommend, a lot of them have some sort of like fruit or vegetable, because the majority of Americans aren't getting a lot of fruits and vegetables in their diet. The USDA has a report of like 50% of, or more than 50% of Americans don't get the recommended amount of fruits and vegetables per day. So that's why these snacks are going to include those, just so we can get those in. So the first snack that I would recommend is Greek yogurt. I know a lot of people, clients that I work with, they are turned off by Greek yogurt a little bit just because of like the texture. It's a little bit more thicker than regular yogurt. But the good thing about Greek yogurt is it has extra protein. So all these snacks are going to have protein in them as well. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but we have Greek yogurt. You can put some granola on it. There's lots of different kinds of granola out there, so feel free to choose whichever one suits your fancy. I like to also add some chia seeds with it just to give some extra healthy fats, and then whatever kind of berry that you like. So that's the first snack that I recommend. The next one would be bell peppers. I like to just like cut them up, or you can do like, there's like sweet bell peppers that are like smaller, low fat cheese, and then wheat thins. I really love the tomato basil wheat thins.
Nice.
The next one is a more of a like a plant-based protein. So chickpeas, you can either just have them like out of the can, like rinsing them, or even just roast them in the oven for a little bit, put some like garlic powder on them. Then you can, after you roast them, you could even like have them chilled, and add some cucumbers, grape tomatoes. You can even add some olive oil for some nice healthy fat there, and then some feta, which again is another source of protein, to just make it a nice little well-rounded meal. And if you're like me, you really like cheese, so feta is a great addition there.
We love roasted chickpeas here at our
nice.
house. We do them all the time in the air fryer. Little olive oil, some garlic, some onion powder, really good. Sometimes we'll put curry powder on there, but they are so delicious.
I feel like I underutilize my air fryer a lot. The main thing I like to put in there is like make things crispy. Like I don't ever like putting sweet potato fries in the oven anymore. I'm like, no, they have to go in the air fryer to get those nice and crispy.
Have you ever cooked salmon in an air fryer?
I don't think I have. My dad had said he'd cooked steak in there before. I'm kind of wary of that, but I feel like I need to utilize it more.
So here's my go-to. I get some salmon fillets. I cut them up in 1-inch pieces, 1 to 2-inch pieces, and I marinate them in like seasonings or teriyaki or some kind of really great marinade in the air fryer. 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 390 degrees. Delicious, right on top of a salad.
Oh, very nice.
Oh my gosh, it works really, really great.
I like that idea.
So, Erin, those are some great suggestions. Thank you. And you talked a little bit about protein, which I kind of want to get into. But so I'm going to start out. For me, it's a question I'm always concerned about. My age, at our age, as we get older, as Americans get older, does our need for protein change?
So it actually does. A lot of times, like when we're in our younger years, I mean, especially if you're doing like weight training, you'll need a little bit more protein. But even as you get older, the protein needs go down, but we still have like a recommended amount. I mean, typically, even for older adults, the recommendation would be like anywhere between like 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram of weight. So it's still a good amount of protein, but we just want to make sure, because as you get older, you also have a risk of like losing your muscle mass. So you want to make sure that you're eating enough protein so you're not losing your muscle mass.
What's your take on protein powder? Like as an additive to a smoothie or, something like that?
I think protein powders are great. One thing that I like to recommend with like protein powders or like supplements in general is just to make sure that they're third party tested, because there's a lot of different supplements out there. In general, like supplements aren't very well regulated. So you just want to make sure that they're third party tested. But adding protein powder to a smoothie or just having it as like a quick little snack with a little carbohydrate source, I think that's great.
Okay. Awesome. So when it comes to protein, what's the importance of combining protein and carbohydrates together?
I love this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
I get excited.
Me too.
So I love this question because a lot of times in working with clients, they think that they can't have carbohydrates because they're like, oh, it's going to raise my blood sugar. And I like to explain, well, that's the point. Carbohydrates are intended to raise our blood sugar. It's our body's preferred source of fuel. Our brain cells, our nerve cells, our red blood cells, they prefer carbohydrates as fuel. But the kicker here is when we have diabetes, we just want to make sure that we aren't having that huge spike. And we do that by combining our carbohydrate sources with protein. So protein is digested slower than carbohydrates. So when we eat them together, our blood sugar stays at a steady rate versus just spiking when we just have a straight carbohydrate source.
I think poor carbohydrates get the worst rap ever. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I know when I was diagnosed, I went on the interweb to see how to cure my diabetes back in 1995, just trying to figure it out, trying to get a sense of and that was the worst place to look.
Right.
But, the bad rap there was carbohydrates, spike your blood sugars. Mm-hmm. So eat way less carbs or no carbs, but your body needs carbs. Right. And carbs are in so many delicious foods. Mm-hmm. So what we say here all the time in the kitchen is everything in moderation.
Of course. That's what I say too.
Yeah. With maybe the exception of cotton candy, right?
Right. That's true.
Enjoy the food you love, but really take a look at the portion size and monitor from that direction is what we like to talk about here. Do you agree with that?
Exactly. 100%. I was just thinking, I think I'm in really good company here, because that's exactly what I would teach as well, is that if you're depriving yourself of these carbohydrates, since carbohydrates are our preferred source of fuel, of course, you're going to feel fatigued, irritable, all those different symptoms. And I like to let them know that you can still have those foods that you love, because food is also social. It's think of all the different holidays that we have, and what do you do there? You eat, because food is social. And so you want to find a way that's balanced and to where you can still have those foods, but you just kind of adapt the way that you eat them a little bit.
Right. And one size doesn't fit all, right? I mean,
Correct.
Every diabetic is a little bit different. And so you've got to really, I think, get your rhythm to find what works for you to keep your blood sugar in check.
Of course. Yeah. I always like to say, I would obviously never give one client the same protocol as another, because our body will respond differently. So everybody has not only different energy needs, but the amount of carbohydrates that we need for each meal are different, and we will respond differently even if we were to consume the same exact meal.
Right. I say this all the time, especially every time we have someone like you on the podcast, a certified registered dietitian, a professional, is that if you are suffering from diabetes or eating challenges or medical challenges that require some special diet, call you on the phone, Erin. Find somebody. Find a dietitian like yourself who can really get to know your body and what ails you and help to design an eating program for you, opposed to looking at some website that would just be tailored to a mass of people that might not relate to you. So if you're listening to this podcast today, I would either, when you get home or pull your car over right now, get on the phone and find yourself a certified registered dietitian, someone with nutrition experience who can help you live your best happy diabetic lifestyle. And of course, again, all of Erin's information will be in the show notes. She would be definitely a very good resource for you to call. Can we go back to the proteins and carbohydrates for a moment?
Of course.
So for me, we typically, and I bake bread every week at my house. I bake whole wheat, tree barky, nut filled, fiber enhanced bread, right? Every week. And so we don't buy loaves of bread ever because it's just so easy to make bread. And I'm happy to show anybody how to do that. So, but it's a carbohydrate, right? And it's high in carbohydrates. It's wheat, slower digesting, but it's a carbohydrate. Same as white bread, right? It's that carbohydrate. So we typically will take a slice of wheat bread and put a protein on it, like peanut butter, so kind of balance it out. So can you think of any other types of situations where you might combine a carbohydrate food and a protein to help keep the carbohydrates from spiking your blood sugar?
Perfect. I think bread is an awesome example, which I need your help with bread. I recently got the sourdough starter and I have yet to actually start because I'm very nervous.
Okay. Let me just say, let's just get off the train for a second. I bake bread with two friends of mine, and we are just getting into sourdough. For like the last couple months, we've been trading starters and making sourdough bread, and I can help you. Here's the problem with sourdough bread. I know we're off topic, everybody, but it's all about food here. Is when you go on the internet or YouTube and watch people make sourdough bread, they make it so complicated. It's not complicated. You just have to take a deep breath and relax. It's so simple and easy to make, but you have to let it sit overnight in your refrigerator. So you need a little bit of patience. But I can help you make amazing sourdough bread, simple and easy.
Thanks. Right, I follow like at least 5 different people on Instagram, and so
when it comes to proteins and carbohydrates, what other suggestions would you have?
So a lot of people that I work with, their big thing is bread, potatoes, and rice. So since you already mentioned bread, I'll go to potatoes and rice. So potatoes, I love to have roasted potatoes. And then by keeping the skin on the potatoes, that's where a lot of, for like all fruits and vegetables, the skin is where a lot of the fiber is. So by keeping the skin on, we help slow the digestion, but then maybe pairing it with like, if we're in the summer, if you're grilling out, maybe pair it with some grilled chicken or even like your salmon that you mentioned. So by pairing it with the protein, that further helps slow the digestion. But potatoes are a great source of nutrition. They're a good source of potassium and other minerals. So I would say, hey, still eat the potatoes.
Portion size though, right? Not a potato the size of your foot.
Right.
I like to think of it as maybe the size of a computer mouse, something of that nature, a reasonable portion.
Yeah, usually about maybe, this is just an estimate, maybe like 3 or 5 ounces. But yeah, if you just think of like your plate, like for half of it, if it can be a vegetable, a fourth of it be your starch or your carbohydrate, and then a fourth of it being protein, then you're golden.
Erin, where does fiber fit into a healthy diabetic eating plan?
Fiber is awesome. So fiber along with protein, it's slowly digested. And so not only does fiber isn't fully absorbed, like it actually is used for the good bacteria in our gut. So not only does it help with blood sugar control, but then it helps with our immunity because a lot of our immunity is in our gut, which kind of has like a secondary or tertiary effect because when we're healthy, our blood sugar is also doing well. When we're sick, that's when we can have these high blood sugar. So fiber is really good. It also helps lower our bad cholesterol and increase our good cholesterol. A lot of times people with diabetes, it is multifactorial in that they may have other disease states, one being heart disease. And if you do have high cholesterol, adding extra fiber in can help lower your cholesterol, your bad cholesterol, and then increase your good cholesterol.
Stay tuned, everybody. We will be right back. This podcast is brought to you by me, Chef Robert, the Happy Diabetic. Head over to happydiabetic.com and register for free gifts when you subscribe to my VIP newsletter. I've got amazing recipes, tested, simple, and delicious, and chef inspired. all my podcast episodes, all my cookbooks, a little bit about me, and so much more. HappyDiabetic.com is my website where you and I can meet up and learn about how to live your best happy diabetic lifestyle. It's where I turn ordinary ingredients into something extraordinary. So head over to the website. I will see you there. All right, let's get back to our interview with my good friend, Erin Sal. In your mind, Erin, what's the biggest challenge that diabetics face regarding eating today?
That there is so much noise. Again, we kind of already touched on this, but there's so much information out on the internet and, again, Instagram or social media telling you do this, and a lot of it is very confusing because we just want to know, like, hey, what's going to control my blood sugar and things like that. And so sometimes it can be confusing to know that. And that's where I say we as registered dietitians, we went to school, we studied the science in order to make it a little bit more, no pun intended, give you bite-sized pieces of information that are more practical.
That weight level and having good success, then like you say, increasing some habits and maybe a little more exercise and focusing on portion control and all those things create that weight loss. But for me, it's a very, and I think I've just heard you say that, baby steps, right? Mm-hmm. If you go in thinking, I got to lose 10 pounds a week or a pound a week, that might not even be possible, right? Have some grace for your poor body. And, but you have to work at it. You have to really look at your portions and look at your behaviors. Does your behavior help your weight loss?
Right. I think that's important too, especially knowing that our body, like our weight can change anywhere from like 5 to 10 pounds in a given day, just depending on like what we ate or anything, them to a place of confidence in their food choices and daily habits to really lead to better blood sugar control and more knowledgeable about their diabetes.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just love that. What would be your best piece of advice that you could share with all the happy diabetic listeners out there who are trying to live their best life and, you know, frustrated or you know, what would be your best advice?
I love this question. I kind of have two answers for it. The first one we kind of already touched on is to give yourself grace. In a world full of lots of different things out on social media and diet culture telling you you need like grit and grind, super low calorie diets, which is not the case. Just kind of give yourself grace and know that every day is not going to be perfect. But as long as you're making those health promoting behaviors, that's what's important. Even if you like, maybe you're feeling like extra fatigue that day and don't feel like you can make it to the gym or do some kind of exercise, that's okay because your body may need rest. And then the second big piece of advice is increase your fruit and vegetable intake because not enough people are eating their fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Okay, that's some really, really great advice. And along with other happy diabetics out there listening, want to know a little more about you. So let's talk about eating and the foods you love and that you eat. So what's a food memory from your youth that you cherish? Like, did you have a favorite food that maybe your dad or your mom or your grandmother made for you? What brings you back there?
I have a favorite, but then I also have like a funny little story. So my favorite was when we had, I mean, this is a very carb heavy meal, so just be mindful of that. But we
no judgment here in the kitchen.
We would have like mashed potatoes with chicken and noodles. And then my mom, or if we were at my grandma's house, would also serve peas. Like that was a staple meal. And you don't just eat it. I know some people may have issues with like their food touching, but I did not as a child. And so I would get them all three on my plate. And I would just mix them all up, and that's how I'd eat that meal.
I love it. I love it.
The funny story about like a funny memory from a child is I didn't really love broccoli as a child. So whenever we had it, my siblings and I would either cover it in melted American cheese, or if we didn't have that luxury for that day, then we would just beg my parents, can we please just eat the leaves? And so just being like the tops of the broccoli, and we're like, we didn't want the stem. So that was just kind of funny too. Now I love broccoli.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Listen, these folks that are listening today know that I love macaroni and cheese and Trix cereal.
Oh, very nice.
Right? I mean, it reminds me of my childhood. I don't eat it every day. I don't eat those foods every day, but there's moments where, yes, gotta have it, right? Shopping at the supermarket's always confusing.
Oh,
right?
yes.
So could you help somebody with that?
Yeah. I mean, that could be something that we work on as well, because going into the store and you're like, okay, where do I start? There's like, I would say maybe thousands of different options that you could choose there. I would say start in the produce section. That's where you can get your bulk of your minerals. Head to the protein. So whether it's like some salmon, some chicken, some ground beef, and then we can move into like the staples. Even like if I don't want to pick up some fresh like potatoes from the produce, I think it's the Idahoan brand. It's the kind you just boil water and then you put it in, the instant mashed potatoes. Those are very delicious. So just kind of moving around and knowing like, okay, I'm getting this food group here, and then moving around and getting those. Yeah,
that's great advice. I tell people, start by shopping the outside aisles of the supermarket. You know, where the proteins and the vegetables are, and then work your way in just like you said. So appreciate that. One more quick question before because we're kind of coming to the end of our moment here, and I want to give you a shot at wrapping it up. But what's your take on frozen vegetables versus fresh vegetables?
This is an awesome question as well. So it mainly has to depend on like...
Erin, let me just say, I don't want to mean to interrupt you. I only try to ask awesome questions. Oh. So thank you for acknowledging that. Just kidding, everybody. Just kidding.
They are great questions. This is something that comes up with me like working with clients anyway. So I think they're great. Yeah. It kind of just depends on like, how soon are you going to use them? Are you just trying to stock up a little bit, or are you going to use them like this week or in a week and a half? But frozen vegetables are awesome because usually they don't have like a lot of like added things for like preservatives. They usually just like flash freeze them. So the main ingredient that I'm thinking about is salt, because sometimes if we have high blood pressure, we just have to be mindful of our salt content. But frozen is perfectly fine. I would just say don't hold them in your freezer until they are freezer burnt.
Right.
But fresh or frozen, either one will do. They still have really good nutrients in them.
Yeah, I like frozen vegetables because a lot of times you can buy smaller quantities and they don't go bad. Right? Like if you have, peppers or, broccoli, or the frozen vegetables, pull out what you need and away you go. And they are high in nutrition. They're not, they're a great source. And depending on where you shop in your neighborhood, for example, if you have Aldi's nearby, they've got great deals on frozen vegetables, just like most supermarkets do.
Yeah, frozen is awesome too. That's kind of what I do with my broccoli too, because who wants to buy a head of broccoli if you're only going to eat a little bit at a time, Right.
Well, Erin, so happy to have you on the podcast today as we're coming to the end, and we're going to play a little game. I've got a little special game for you. But before we do that, anything else you want to add or any thoughts you want to impart while you're here? And tell everybody, and of course, we'll have that all in the show notes. But let them know where to find you.
Well, you can find me mostly on Instagram at diabetes.nutrition.coach. There I share different recipes, different tips, and some like fun little dances. No judgment, please, but I just like to have fun sometimes.
Okay.
You can email me at hello@erinsal.com. And if you're interested and really wanting to use 2024 you can go to my Instagram profile and apply for one-on-one coaching. I'm actually accepting applications to start next month, so I'm really excited about that. And then if you want me in your inbox, you can sign up for my newsletter, which the link will be included as well, where I'll share extra tips and tricks. You can have extra promos or exclusive invites to program openings. Those are different ways that you can find me.
Awesome. We will be right back. Okay, everybody, welcome back. We're about to play the rapid fire 4-1-1 game with Erin. Erin, it works like this. I'm going to ask you some very simple questions, and you just tell me what your preference is. Butter or olive oil, riding a bike or hiking, favorite food, that kind of thing. Are you ready?
Okay. Yep.
Okay, big prizes. Here we go. And by the way, there's no wrong answer. This is just you and these questions.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Olive oil or coconut oil?
Ooh, olive oil.
Oranges or peaches?
Definitely peaches.
Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Grilled vegetables or raw veggies?
I like them grilled. That's good.
Okay. Chunky or smooth peanut butter?
Oh my gosh, definitely smooth.
Oh my gosh. Listen, this question comes up a lot. I'm definitely chunky. Okay, here we go. Valentine's Day or St. Patrick's Day?
I like Valentine's Day.
Okay. Do you have a favorite vegetable?
Let's just go with broccoli. We brought that up like 3 times. I really like broccoli.
Me too. Okay. Bacon or ice cream?
Definitely ice cream.
Do you have a favorite flavor?
I really like chocolate chip cookie dough.
Nice. Coffee or tea?
Do you have to choose one?
No.
This is actually funny. This was at my like bridal shower. They said coffee or tea, and I said coffee. And my cousin's like, yeah, but you really love tea, so we'll have to go with both.
Okay, no worries. Superhero or supervillain?
Definitely a good superhero.
Okay. Roller coasters or merry-go-rounds?
Roller coasters.
Not me. Okay, I'm a merry-go-round person all the way.
I love the thrill.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Erin, finally, if you could have dinner with anyone, past or present, who might that be?
Betty White. I think she's a classic.
Betty White. Wow. Tell everybody who may not know who Betty White is. Who is Betty White?
Betty White was an actress in the Golden Girls. She also starred in a lot of other movies, and she's just a classic and genuine woman.
Lived to a ripe old age.
I know. I'm like, she should have gotten to 100. I feel so bad.
Yeah. Well, listen, if we could have dinner with Betty White, I would definitely come and cook for you guys.
Thank you, and hopefully you bring bread.
I would. My tree barky whole wheat bread. No worries.
Lovely.
Okay. Well, Erin, again, it was great having you on the show. Any last thoughts before we say goodbye?
Well, I just want to thank you for having me. It was really nice to chat. I know I get really excited talking about different aspects of nutrition and diabetes, so it's been a pleasure talking with you and having this information for your listeners. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. Okay, Erin, can't wait to get back together, and we'll be following you on Instagram. And thank you for trying to make a difference in people's lives out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, everybody, stay tuned. We will be right back. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's time for the recipe of the podcast. You'll find it at happydiabetic.com. Hit the recipe link, and you're looking for the Mediterranean quinoa salad bowl of love, of course, of love. So, here's what you're going to need. Mixed greens with arugula, some feta cheese, some roasted chickpeas, some cooked quinoa, some hummus, diced tomatoes, and a couple tablespoons of your favorite salad dressing. Now, I love to cook chickpeas in my air fryer, and I've got that recipe for you in the recipe. So check that out. That is delicious. And I've also got my Happy Diabetic Classic Balsamic Dressing. It's Dijon mustard, a little bit of honey, some sea salt, some freshly crushed black pepper, some garlic, balsamic vinegar, and extra virgin olive oil. My basic. And it is so, so delicious. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to make the salad dressing in a small mixing bowl, set it to the side. Then you're going to assemble the salad in a large mixing bowl, combine the cooked quinoa, the greens, the feta cheese, tomatoes, and roasted chickpeas Or if you don't want to roast them, just rinse the can, put them right in. Then with a spoon, I like to wipe the side of the bowl with hummus. If you're looking at my website, you'll see a picture of it. It's super delicious and fabulous looking. Then we're going to drizzle the vinaigrette and gently toss the salad just to coat it nice. Maybe season it to taste with a little salt and pepper, and that is it. It is the Mediterranean quinoa salad bowl. HappyDiabetic.com. Recipes is where you'll find it. If you're loving what you hear in the kitchen, please share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone you know living with diabetes. Type 1, type 2, or my favorite, the type 3, that wonderful, loving support person. Please leave a comment or feedback wherever you listen. It's super important. So I know exactly what you like and how I can make this the best podcast ever. Please reach out to me at my website, happydiabetic.com. Hit the contact link and share a recipe or a comment or a question. We want you to live your best happy diabetic life. Thanks again for listening. This podcast is not intended to replace any professional medical advice. The views expressed in this podcast may not be those of the host or the Happy Diabetic Kitchen. Always seek medical advice from a registered certified dietitian, diabetic educator, or your doctor. I'm not a dietitian, a certified diabetic educator, or a doctor of any kind. Although I have 3 children, Attila, Dracula, and Frankenstein, that makes me a psychiatrist of sorts. Always consult your medical professional when making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, medication, or anything going on with your diabetes. The Happy Diabetic Kitchen is made from scratch, seasoned with love, cooked to perfection. Our theme music is by the Happy Diabetic Kitchen Band, and of course, our kitchen mascots, Scout and Tucker. They just got through eating their breakfast, and now they're hanging around, looking for some cat treats, and then, of course, very soon it will be nap time for them. And please remember this. This year, better than last year. This month, better than last month. This week, better than last week. And this day, today, better than yesterday. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and let me leave you with this thought. Real cooking is more about following your heart than following recipes. And remember this, no one loves you more than me. Happy cooking, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time on the Happy Diabetic Kitchen podcast.